Right. But thank you for reaching out that you wanted me to be on your show. Usually I'm asking people. It's
Oh,
not it's
yeah.
not very often that I get asked, so thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's my pleasure. And I want to begin our conversation with living through the heavy of the last 3.5 years or so. How did you get through the global pandemic and how did it change you?
So we're already recording, huh?
I come from jazz radio, so we hit that hi hat and we go in.
Great, great. I love it. If you want me to do a little ski bop to dop, I'll do that
Let's do
too,
it.
So yeah. So it's very interesting that you asked that question because for the years before that, I've been a coach now, totally about 12, 13 years, a life coach. And over those years, I had gone through some ups and downs of my own. In 2008, when the world fell apart financially, remember that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was one of the quote unquote victims of that.
Wow.
I lost absolutely everything. And it took me about a year to pick myself up and figure out, okay, what am I going to do now? I was a businessman my entire life, but now I had no funds, I had nothing. And I said, okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to do something. Long story short, I decided to become a life coach. And about 2 months before life coach training started, my wife said to me, I'm done after 24 years on our 24th wedding anniversary. I want a divorce. I'm like, oh boy, and I didn't get her anything like that for our divorce, for our anniversary. But I have to tell you, my emotions were all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, even though I really knew it was coming, but until it actually happens, you never really believe it.
Yeah.
And my mindset was like, why does everything keep happening to me? I lost everything. I hear I'm losing my marriage and all that. And I decided, I think God was kind of nudging me and telling me, all right, go to coach training anyway.
Yeah.
This is probably what you need right now in your life. You're at the lowest point. You're vulnerable. You're ready to hear what's going on and change. And I did that. I went, and before I went, they sent us a list of books. They said read a couple of these books, and one of them was a book by Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of Tom Brady, it's his mantra. He says those four agreements every day.
Wow.
And one of them for me that really hit me was the second agreement: don't take anything personally. And as I said, I was in a vulnerable, raw state of my life, and I was like, that's what I do all the time. Everything that happens to me, I take personally. Just as I said, how come everything happens to me? Why is everything happening to me? And I took it to heart, and I went into that first weekend of coach training, and they said, you don't have to be who you think you have to be. You could be whoever you want to be. And I started to understand that because I was taking things personally, I was a control freak. I was a people pleaser, number one, right? And as a result of being a people pleaser and a control freak and needing the recognition of pleasing everybody, I didn't realize I was a people pleaser. Just thought I was trying to make everybody happy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now I call myself a recovering people pleaser. But at the end of the day, I all that manifested itself is that I had a very short temper.
Yeah.
And I always thought, okay, I can't change who I am. I am who I am. And they gave me the permission to say I can change. So I went into that, and lo and behold, I did get a divorce. I moved through it. I moved back to New York. I was living down by the Jersey Shore for about 20 years. And I started to put my life back together again. I had a dead end job. I was doing stuff, and I allowed myself to even get heavy, the heaviest I ever was. And one day I said, I got to fix this. And, it's up to me to make these right choices. I lost 65 pounds over 9 months, but along with that came other things. I was allowing myself to be coached. I wasn't doing that before. I thought I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that I couldn't afford not to be coached. I had a friend reach out to me who said, I know you're looking for, I saw him actually on Facebook doing workouts at home. I said, oh, I think I can do that. He said, I'll coach you. That's how he reached out. He said, not only get the videos, but I'll coach you through it. So I allowed that to happen, and that changed my mindset. And then a couple of years later, I was at the best part of my life, health wise, happiness. And I said, okay, I'm ready to start moving forward in my life. Now that I like myself, now I understand why my wife didn't love me, because I didn't love myself and all the things I was doing to myself. So I started dating, and I started to understand that I wanted to coach in a different area. I was doing divorce recovery before. Now I wanted to help people shift their mindset from lack to abundance. And one day I was doing something. I'm ADHD, Joe. So could you imagine an ADHD guy meditating? It just, I'm
Yeah.
wired. I can't.
Yeah.
But one day when I was doing this meditation, I had this download of information that I loved my life and I wanted to help other people do it. So I wrote for about 2 hours after that 10-minute guided meditation. And out of that came the acronym LIFE, live incredibly full every day. And I started to build myself from there. I started dating. Thank God I found a woman. Our values were matching up. We got married about almost 6 years ago, and it's been a fantastic ride. So now here comes 2020, right? Which
Yeah.
is what your question was, but I had to lead
Absolutely.
up to it.
Yeah. You tell 100%. Yeah.
So here comes 2020, and in January of 2020, my wife and I take out her kids over to Rome for a vacation, and one of her kids has literally only has the flu, and we're hearing about this thing out there, and we're telling her son, look good, smile as you go through customs, make sure you look good. Luckily, we got there, whatever. Now we come back and we start hearing things, and we go visit my mom in Florida. We tell my mom, you know what, come back. Right about March 2nd, March 3rd, she comes back. March 10th, the world shuts down. So
Yeah.
luckily, my mom was here. It was a good thing because her dementia over the last couple of years as a result of COVID and being stuck at home has really taken over her. But anyway, so now we all get shut down.
Yeah.
And my wife, who's in corporate, she works for JP Morgan. She's does stuff I'll never understand, data and stuff, IT stuff. To way I married way intelligence wise. I married way over my head. But here we are, and everything shuts down. And every day I'm making sure I'm going outside. I'll put the gloves on. I'll put the
Yeah.
mask on. I can't stay home. I
Yeah.
went shopping. I would work out of the house anyway. You can see what's behind me here,
Yeah.
right? But my wife came home. The kids came home, and they all had their rooms, and they were doing their stuff. And about 2 months in, I'm looking around, and remember, what did they say? It's only going to be about 2-3 weeks, and then we'll get back to normal.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
2-3 weeks.
Yeah. Right.
But here we are. It's now May, and we're still locked down. But I'm finding my way to go out every day.
Yeah.
And I turn to my wife and I go, let's drive to Manhattan. We live in Brooklyn. Let's drive to Manhattan and just we'll take the kids and go on a nice Sunday day.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, I don't know what the traffic's like in Kansas City, but in New York City, driving down Fifth Avenue could be a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
But have you been to New York City?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine I was able to drive straight down Fifth Avenue without missing a traffic light.
Wild.
There was nobody out in the streets. And I turned to my wife. I said, where is everybody? What is everybody so worried about? Put your mask on, put your gloves on, walk 6 feet apart from each other, get outside,
Yeah.
get in your car, go do something.
Yep.
And it started to dawn on me that the last 10, 12 years, going through the financial crisis, going through the divorce, going through my weight up and down, and having that basically epiphany of that I loved what I was doing and I was happy, had prepared me for anything that came, because I was a worrier before.
Yeah.
I was worried. And I was like, I got onto Facebook and I go, guys, I get it. I understand what you're feeling. You're all worried that the world is falling down. You're all Chicken Little, basically. I don't know if I use those words, but the sky is falling. But is the sky really falling? Or are you allowing it to let you fall? I said, let's get on a call and I'll show you how to go from being a worrier to a warrior.
Yeah.
So I took the life that I came up with and I turned it into the Warriors Life Code. So how did I get through 2020, those 2-3 years? I focused on making sure that people can get through it, understanding that no matter what's going on, you have control of your life.
So if you were in front of a bunch of third graders at career day and one of the kids said, hey, what do you do for a living? How would you answer that child?
I help people shift their mindset from lack to abundance. The third grader may not understand that.
Right.
Right. So I tell them, I help people understand that they should wake up every day and be grateful for everything they have and don't complain about anything. Because the more you complain, the more things will come bad to you. The more you appreciate, the more good things will come to you.
So what did you want to be in the
How was
third
that
grade?
for a third grader?
I love it. No, they would get it. They would dig it. So when you were in the third grade, what was your dream to grow up and become?
When I was in third grade, I think when I was in third grade, I wanted to become a doctor.
Okay.
I wanted to be a doctor. What happened to me was when I was in high school and I took my SAT, I walked out. I said, "Yeah, there goes medical school." I didn't realize it was my ADHD that was holding me back.
Yeah.
We didn't know what ADHD was back then.
Yeah. 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 I have a son on the spectrum, so I see how, from a clinical standpoint, that can manifest
Right.
itself. And, you
I have a
know,
daughter as well on the spectrum.
oh, you do? Okay. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. It,
High
it's,
high up on the spectrum, very very functional. You
yeah.
know, there's a play on Broadway now called How to Dance in Ohio,
Yeah.
and it's about us young teenage children and early 20s who are all autistic but don't they don't know how to be social about it. So one of the characters gets up and says, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person.
It's true. I remember hearing that quote very early on when I was getting therapy and trying to wrap my head around how, how all of this works. And that's totally true. Everybody's completely different.
Right, right.
Um,
I mean, we
so
didn't know my daughter was autistic until she was 13 or 14.
wow. Yeah. That's wild. I mean, but there's so many gifts in there. There's so many savants and so many levels. And I know Miles has taught me so thankfully that he's taught me how to see this world in a way that I would never have seen before.
How old is Miles?
He's 19.
Beautiful. My daughter Claire is 25 now.
Okay.
Last year she started college.
Wow, that's great. That's
Yeah.
cool. I love it. So let me ask you this. Who's been a hero for you, an inspiration for you in your life?
I have to start with my dad. And looking back, we lost him over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I say it had to be because looking back now, the lessons he was trying to teach me that I wasn't ready to hear were more about understanding that you shouldn't take things personally, that it's okay to just do, it's okay to just be. Don't let what other people are telling you get you down, and just embrace life, which is what he did.
So if you could meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find inspirational, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
One person alive.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually I get dead or alive, but okay, I'll go with the
Well, I
alive.
mean, we could open up the door to ghosts, but I think it'd be fun because there's always a chance that that's going to happen.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, I have met somebody that I never thought I was going to meet. So
Yeah.
I'll take her off the list. She's one of my mentors now. She wrote some books called on something called magic. Her name is Genevieve Davis. Right.
Okay.
And I got to meet her and we will have dinner one day together. So that one doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I would say Don Miguel Ruiz, because
Okay.
I would love to sit down and the Four Agreements guy and get deeper into where he, his thoughts on that, and getting a deep conversation with him.
Are you a Mets fan or a Yankees fan?
I'm a Yankee fan.
Okay.
The Empire.
Because because I met my hero this last fall. I grew up loving Dwight Gooden.
Oh, Dwight
And
Gooden. I thought you
yeah.
were going to say George Brett.
Well, I did. I met George Brett. I met him a lot when I was a kid. But
He should that tar bat should have stayed out. He should not have been allowed to come back.
man, that all still seems like a dream. Every once in a while I'll be online and I'll see that happen. I'm like, how in the world did a player do that? Like he
I was
lost
watching the game live.
lost his mind. I remember that was like when I was a kid, one of the biggest stories was either when Reagan got shot or the shuttle exploded.
Right.
That in Kansas City, that game and story was covered like that. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
everywhere.
Where were you when George Brett
Right.
bolted out of the
Lost
dugout?
his mind. Oh my God. Yeah. So, what's your motivation? You've gone through a lot, you've evolved a lot over time, but in this present 2024 day, what is your motivation to get up every day and to be you and continue?
Such an unbelievable question. So beautiful. So remember, I talked about life, live incredibly full every day.
Yeah.
So for me, it has a double meaning. It's, are you happy and are you having a meaningful life? And there's a big difference between the two. You could be having a meaningful life and not be happy, and you could be happy and not be meaningful. So let's break it down. Happiness is self love, self care, even selfish, right? Meaningful is selfless, giving to others.
Yeah.
So when I say I want to live incredibly full every day, I want to make sure I'm living in a happy life, having happiness with my wife, my children, my stepchildren, my 8 grandchildren that I have, right? But I also want to make sure that I'm giving back to the world somehow. So my motivation every day is, can I help somebody shift their mindset from lack to abundance? Can I help somebody understand that the life that they have is in their control?
So, of all of the things that you've done so far in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Other than my 4 children,
Yeah, exactly.
all right. Well, I'll tell you the truth. It happens to be something that came up just last week. So when I got married, I moved from New York back to New Jersey, which is where we go in the summertime. And many of my community members, I come from a very small uh, Orthodox Jewish community from Syria, Egypt, that area. They originally come, and they have a very close knit community. And most people don't leave the community. I mean, you don't move away.
Yeah.
But so in the summertime, we all go en masse to New Jersey, to the shore. And over the years, some people decided, you know what, I love it here. I'm going to stay here. So when I got married, I did the same thing. Right. And I was in an area where walking to synagogue was too far. And we decided, okay, we don't want to walk 25, 30 minutes to synagogue every day because we don't drive on Saturday. Right. So I was the founder of the first synagogue of Eatontown, New Jersey. And in 1992, when we started, every Saturday morning, I would have to wake up and push some guys so that we had 10 men. So we had the full service at least to come.
Yeah.
And over the years, we started to build, and we finally built a building. And about last week, and then over the years, politics got involved. I had to stop working at it and stuff like that. And I walked away for a few years, and they built the building, and it was beautiful. But now, and we're in 2024 now, right? I got a call from the rabbi of the synagogue saying, Martin, he sent me a message saying, Martin, in 2 weeks, in February, sometime in February, I forgot the exact date right now, we're having a groundbreaking to expand the synagogue. We're putting more cars, more parking. There's over 400 families there. So for me, that's part of my legacy, that my children can say, this is what my dad did to help the world, help the Jewish world, help the community grow. And it's a beautiful thing. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
I gotta ask you, what does Rome feel like? What was it like to be in Rome for you? Did you love it?
In Rome, huh?
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was fantastic. Uh, what we did was we wanted to be near the Jewish ghetto area, what they used to call back then Jewish ghetto. And we decided, instead of taking a hotel, we would do an Airbnb. So we said, let's try to find one close to that area.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you the exact address until you actually sign it.
Yeah.
But the pictures look beautiful. 20-foot ceilings, an apartment with all white marble, all white, all beautiful stuff with a bunch of bedrooms and all that. We said, okay, let's book it. We booked it only to find out that it was on the block of the Jewish ghetto, around the corner from the Rome synagogue. So it
Oh,
was beautiful. So we were able
yeah.
to walk all over. But going to the Colosseum, and listen, going into the Sistine Chapel and seeing Michelangelo's ceiling was unbelievable.
My ancestors came from Italy, landed in Ellis Island. So I was the first generation of our Diminos to get over there, and
Mhm.
I had a pen pal in high school, just platonic. We were just friends. We wrote for 4 or 5 years. We'd send old mini cassette tapes and clippings and all of this. So I ended up going to visit her, and she was in a little town called Castle Ferentino, south of Florence. So one day on my own, I just took a train to Rome, and I have never been to a more magical place in my life. Like
It's
I,
really
I
fantastic.
heard a cell phone go off in the Coliseum, and I was like, "Oh my God!" You talk about the chasm of history in that one moment right there. You
When did
know,
you go? When did you go to Rome?
I was there in 2000.
Oh, I was there in 2020, right?
Okay,
And now I think I heard recently that they're now allowing tours on the floor of the Coliseum,
wow. You,
right? Where they would bring out the lions and the people
yeah,
to fight
uh-huh,
each other.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the thing about Rome too was it was totally different by night and by day.
Yeah.
And I remember I was staying by the Vatican and I got lost one night and I didn't know the language well and I was getting into really bad areas and I just kept walking and my knees were getting real sore and all that. And I
Mm.
remember it took a long time and I finally found my hotel and I remember I kissed the wall of the building that I stayed in because I was
You
so
know, about a year and a half before that, we went on a cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, which basically was like our honeymoon cruise.
yeah,
And we went to Naples and we
yeah.
decided to go to Pompeii.
Uh-huh.
Pompeii is something unbelievable. They keep unearthing bodies and rooms and things that were from 79 AD.
Wow. That's wild. Yeah, the history, you realize too, when you see the antiquity there, how young we are as a country here.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to Israel. Yeah. Everywhere you go in
Oh,
Israel, there's history.
I can only imagine.
Oh,
How would
my
that
favorite.
be?
My
Yeah.
favorite.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, all these circles of people, family,
Right.
friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. You're in control. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Wow. You have a fantastic question,
Just
Joe
trying to wake
Dimino.
you
I
up.
got to tell you. So I think my perception of me is someone who's of service, someone who loves everyone, who wants everyone to love him. Still, I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
Even if I tried to get over it, I'm still recovering from it. And every day I want to wake up and I make it my mantra. One of my things to do is to go out every day and make somebody laugh.
Yeah.
And when they laugh, I thank them for filling my quota because now instead of like just making somebody laugh and walking away, they'll forget a half a second later. By saying to them, thank you for filling my quota of helping me make someone laugh every day. Now they're taking stock of it and they realize I'm making even a momentary connection with them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
know,
love that. That's great. So if anyone
uh,
wants to hire you, reach out, learn more about you, anything about your world, how do they do that?
yeah. Well, I made it very simple. You can go to connectwithmartin.com. You can go there. About a year ago, almost a year ago, I came out with my book called Warrior to Warrior.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah.
And along with that comes, you could also buy a card deck, which is kind of like the what are they used to call the cliff notes of the
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
cool.
there's things, and there's some free gifts on there, different things on how to get your mindset in the right way. And there's also a link if you want to just get on a call with me and see what I got for you and see if there's anything that we want to talk about.
Right on.
Great.
Yeah. This has been great, Martin. I love it. What an evolved, great story of overcoming and getting to where you need to be. My wife last night at one point said, "Man, why do these bad things always happen?" And it's like, not to her, but just in general to people. And it's like we have things we have to learn, man. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not easy.
Yeah. And you gotta, my one of my mentors, Genevieve Davis, that I mentioned earlier, she says the world is as you see it. So if you want to see it as bad, it's bad. If you want to see it as good, it's good. It doesn't matter who the president of the country is,
Right.
right? You're still getting up every day. You're going to work. You're doing your thing. Unless we get somebody who comes in and just totally changes the way America works, the world is staying the way it is.
Yeah.
The American world for sure.
Yeah.
And you have to live in it. So make it the best that you can for you.
Yep.
Don't worry about the other things out there. Who's got time to do that stuff? Really, if you have too much time doing that, you're not doing what you should be doing in the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's a level of manifest destiny too. Once you say yes enough, like John Coltrane used to always say, his favorite word in the English language was the word yes.
I love it. I
You
love it,
know?
John Coltrane. But
Yeah,
you know what? It's every day. Every time somebody asks you something, instead of saying I can't, say how can I or I can.
that's right. That's it. Just
As soon as you
believe.
say I can't, it's in a cop out saying
I know.
I don't want to do the work.
Yeah, you just put a wall up.
Yep. Yep.
So, it reminds me of a quote from one of my favorite poets, Charles Bukowski: "We're born geniuses and buried idiots."
That's for sure. It's like me. As I got older, my parents got smarter.
Yeah, right. Isn't that weird? It's some magic pill.
They were dumb when I was kids. They were just idiots.
I
And now
know.
I realize
They knew what they were talking about. Yeah, for sure. Martin, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. This has been wonderful. Have a wonderful 2024. Best of luck with your book and everything you do, man.
Thank you so much, Joe. This has been a pleasure. And keep spreading your message.
Yes, sir. Thank you.